In today's 5-Minute Friday video, I'm going to talk about commercial real estate due diligence. What is commercial real estate due diligence? Basically, that's the steps that a buyer is taking, prior to even closing on the property. Sometimes even in the case prior to even making an offer, the buyer needs to do a couple of steps to make sure that property works for them. So this is mainly from the perspective of a buyer looking for an investment versus somebody who's looking to buy commercial property for their own business. That's a different type of strategy, different type of some of the same steps apply here. So with that said, one of the initial steps before you even make an offer is just to look at the numbers. Gather the rents, ask if you can get copies of leases, the P&Ls, the profit loss statements, and take a look at that. Do a deep dive. Plug in those numbers in your spreadsheet and find out whether those numbers make sense. Are you cash flow positive? If you're not cash flow positive, then take a look at the property. You also need to understand the location, what's the traffic count, what's the usability of the area, what's the usability of the property. I mean, if it's a little, a one unit building out in the middle of nowhere it's not rented right now, the chances of getting a good tenant to pay good rents that's going to be there over the long term is going to be an issue. So, but if it's on a highly trafficked road, it's a strip mall, it's got 5 units, 3 or 4 of them are occupied, and just with those 3 or 4, your cash flow at least positive, even if only a dollar positive, that's a great thing. You got 3 units occupied, they'll pay your mortgage. It's just a matter of getting those other 2 units filled. Now, in the case where it's not cash flow positive, let's say in that same example, you've got a strip mall on a busy street, it's 5 units, the owner just, they're ready to retire and they just want to get rid of the property. So, they're leaving it for the next buyer to, as a value add proposition. So in that situation, same thing too, you need to be able to figure out, can you get tenants in? What's the lease rates going to be? And will that cash flow? Without cash flow, it doesn't make sense as an investment. So once you determine that the actual property is cash flowing positive, or you have a plan to turn it around, then if you're purchasing with a mortgage, then it's time to talk to your lender. Reach out to your lender, find out what your down payment terms are. What are the loan terms? In the case of a commercial property, you usually don't have your 30-year mortgage like you have a residential. That's a totally different thing. So find out what those terms are. What's your interest rate? Your interest rates are usually going to be a couple % higher on a commercial loan compared to a residential loan. So once you have those numbers too, then that also needs to go get plugged back into your spreadsheet to see does that impact your cash flows. You can use a general there's plenty of places to search online, do an internet search, find out okay, what's the current interest rate for commercial loans, what's your term, you can plug those in. But once you talk to the lender, you go engage with them, plug those numbers in again. If they make sense, continue forward. Or if you have a plan to make it make sense, then yeah, continue forward. That's when you can even further your conversation with the seller and start saying, okay, let's walk the property, do a full walk around. If you have the knowledge and you understand, you can get a look at the roof, you can get a look at inside the building, see the condition, check out this condition of the parking lot. That's great. You need to do that. If you have an expert, a contractor, whatnot, you need to pay them, or you have them come along during the walk. That'll save you time. If you find out the building needs $70,000 worth of work just based on your walkthrough, that's not captured in the picture, that obviously changes your numbers. So then you got to go back to the drawing board. You got to go back to those numbers, punch those repair costs in. Your lender's going to be looking on all of this. It's not as simple as it cash flows at this point in time. Lender's going to order their own appraisal. The appraisal is a pretty extensive process for commercial, and they're pretty costly as well too. So if you could save money on the front end, where you're looking at appraisals running around $3,000-$4,000 for a small building, and up for larger buildings, that's a one-time cost. Your lender is going to require you to pay for that. And once it's done, if something comes up, doesn't work, the property doesn't work, you're out that cost. So before you even get to that appraisal process, walk it. If you're comfortable with the building, make an offer, put in the inspection contingency in there. Hire a commercial real estate inspector. Hope you found this helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below. And if you could, please subscribe to my channel, and if you did enjoy the video, it was helpful, like, and feel free to share it with others. Thank you.